This is KGW News at Sunrise.
They're human. They mattered.
A tragic end to a search in Vancouver. Police believe they found the bodies of a missing woman and her young daughter near Washougal. We'll have the latest on the investigation.
And a bill banning assault weapons is making its way through the Washington legislature. We'll tell you how the bill could impact you.
How about this to start your Thursday morning? We've got puppies. We have cute puppies. They are at the Humane Society for Southwest Washington, and we're showing you these puppies because today is, as the screen suggests, National Puppy Day. Coming up in 15 minutes, Mr. Rodney Hill, Brenda and Christine. We will have more on the puppies and some details on, well, basically advice. Advice if you're thinking about bringing a puppy into your home.
Oh my gosh.
Did my family put you up to this? They want a dog. And those puppy kisses are too darn cute.
Well, if you don't want to do that, I would just say maybe don't look at the screen because it is hard to say no to those puppies, right?
So hard.
Super cute.
All right, Good way to start out our Friday Eve.
All right, lots going on weather-wise. We will get into kind of a recap of yesterday's thunderstorm activity coming up a little bit later in the show. But right now we're going to move forward. We have that cold front coming in. The current timing has delayed it until about 11 o'clock, crossing the I-5 corridor. Storm warnings go up at 11 o'clock this morning for the Coast Range, for snow. Also, winter storm warnings go into play today for the Cascades. So we'll talk more about that. And then in orange, the Dalles, kind of garden variety stuff for you folks. But later this afternoon, a wind advisory for west winds gusting to 45. Right now, we have increasing showers picking up across the area. You've had some raindrops on the Linds in downtown Portland. It's 47. That could be the high today. We're going to spend most of the day in the mid-40s. We'll have a solid rain band going into the noon hour, gusty southwest winds. Snow levels still on track to drop down close to the valley floor later tonight. All of that coming up in my complete forecast.
Thank you, Rod. This morning we start with a tragic update. Police believe two bodies found yesterday morning are a missing mother and daughter from Vancouver. They were discovered in a rural area near Washougal. Michelle Melendez and her daughter Layla Stewart had been missing for more than a week.
Police say they identified them based on what they're calling unique genetic markings. We're, of course, learning more, and we're waiting to learn more. The Clark County Medical Examiner's Office working to find out how they died. Alma McCarty was at the scene during that investigation.
On Wednesday morning, the Clark County Sheriff's Office got a call from someone who was walking on this rural road in Washougal. The caller described what they believed to be two life-sized mannequins down an embankment near a creek. But when deputies arrived on scene, they discovered two bodies. Investigators contacted Vancouver police, who determined this was likely Michelle Melendez and Layla Stewart.
This is probably our missing mother and daughter. The major crimes unit from the sheriff's office is kind of handling the investigation as a homicide investigation, so detectives and crime scene folks are up there.
A Washington State Patrol forensics team joined the investigation, collecting evidence and speaking with neighbors on Southeast Wooding Road, which was roped off for hours.
The medical examiner's office will obviously be the final confirmation for anybody's identity like that, but wanting to be able to kind of provide that update and that information versus just having people wonder.
The 27-year-old and her 7-year-old daughter were missing for more than a week, last seen near Northeast Vancouver Mall Drive and 77th Avenue. Michelle's boyfriend, Kirkland Warren, is officially a person of interest in their disappearance. He was arrested earlier this month, accused of domestic violence against Michelle. Warren appeared in court Wednesday morning, though his hearing was connected to a murder he's accused of committing in Arkansas.
Now we strategize on how to get justice for these two beautiful souls.
Michelle Bart leads the National Women's Coalition Against Violence and Exploitation and is the spokesperson for the family.
Mom, our client, Nicole, is devastated, and she hasn't slept since they disappeared. The whole family, they're all in shock. They're upset. They're mad.
In a statement, they wrote, "The family is grateful for all the community support, and we ask that people respect the privacy of the family while they process and grieve." Bart says on Thursday they will be starting a memorial fund for two funerals, for Michelle and for Layla. In Clark County, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Covering this story reminded us about a law in Washington that was established to protect women like Miche and their children. It's called the Tiffany Hill Act. Devin Haskins has more on that law for us this morning and why it wasn't followed to keep better track of Miche's boyfriend, Kirkland Warren.
Yeah, Drew, the Tiffany Hill Act is named after a Vancouver mom who was murdered by her estranged and abusive husband back in 2019. The law allows courts to order people accused of domestic violence to wear GPS ankle monitoring devices, which can then be monitored by officials and linked to an app on the victim's phone. The app would alert them when an offender is nearby. Clark County Court ordered Warren not to have contact with Miche earlier this month after determining he posed extreme risk to her. In fact, a risk assessment found Warren scored 31 on a scale of 1 to 18. But despite that number, Clark County prosecutors chose not to ask for Warren to have the electronic monitoring pending trial, and the court chose not to order it. Instead, Warren was granted bail and released. Days later, Miche Melendez and her 8-year-old daughter Layla disappeared. It's a scenario domestic violence advocates say happens too often and something that needs to change.
Why isn't electronic monitoring being used consistently? I think that that's a really important question that we need to answer. We need to understand the barriers to figure out how we can make sure that this is a system that works for survivors and our communities.
When KGW asked why Clark County prosecutors did not order GPS monitoring for Warren, the prosecutor's office simply replied, "No comment," citing an ongoing investigation. And a reminder, if you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, know that there is help. You can call or text the National Domestic Violence Hotline. That number, as you see it on your screen, 800-799-7233. Brenda?
Devin, thank you. Other headlines this morning. A Washington bill to ban assault weapons will go before the Senate today. It would ban the manufacture, importation, distribution, sale, or offer for sale of any assault weapon in the state. It passed the House 2 weeks ago. Now, to be clear, the bill does not prohibit the possession of assault weapons, but you cannot transfer them. The Senate Committee on Law and Justice is holding a public hearing on the bill this morning at 8 o'clock. And then tonight, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler will hold another online hearing on the first city-sanctioned mass homeless camp. This one will be on Southeast Gideon Street near Powell Boulevard. As many as 150 people could be there, and they would get help with things like food, hygiene, and safety. A California nonprofit will run this site. Tonight's hearing will start at 5:30. And a drug-resistant fungus has now reached Oregon. State officials say there was an outbreak of Candida auris in a health facility. OHA initially said 3 cases were detected, but then clarified those numbers weren't official. The fungus first showed up in Japan and is now in multiple states. It's unlikely to be a problem for healthy people, but it can be deadly for those with weak immune systems, and it can also survive on surfaces, including skin. And that's a look at your Thursday headlines.
And check this out, a Wolverine was seen along the Columbia near Portland. You can see the little guy in that photo there. This photo from the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. 2 people spotted the Wolverine apparently Monday while they were out fishing. And it may look like a small bear, but it's actually the largest member of the weasel family. Officials found tracks on Tuesday, but no other sign of the animal. It's the first confirmed report of a Wolverine sighting in Oregon outside the Wallowa Mountains in over 3 decades. That's so cool.
3 other people spotted wearing Michigan Wolverine football jerseys at the Vancouver Mall the same day.
Wow.
That is not a confirmed report. I just want to put that out there. Not confirmed, but it's what Rod heard, I suppose.
He's got jokes.
That's the mascot, if you don't know, of the University of Michigan. Okay, all right. Cold front comes in. Current timing has backed it up to about 11 o'clock this morning. That's important to note because that's the best chance that we'll see a solid rain band come through. Again, so today the watches have been upgraded to warnings for snow for the Coast Range and the Cascades. We have the wind advisory from the Dalles out into the basin, just kind of garden variety west gusts, 45 miles per hour for you folks. But starting later today, all the way through Saturday, you will want to check conditions and be prepared for winter snow driving conditions over the Coast Range. and certainly over the Cascades. Of course, no shocker over the Cascades, but it is getting late in the season. So snow levels today, 1,500 feet this afternoon, though lower to that. We're down to 500 feet on Friday and Saturday. We bounce to 1,500 feet on Sunday. We bounce back up to 3,000 on Monday. So the deal is with these low snow levels, confidence is pretty high that, I don't know, 90% of areas below 500 feet would be 35, 36, 37 degrees with no sticking snow both Friday morning and Saturday morning. But there could be cold spots, so we'll have to watch it. And it's not guaranteed, even if you live in the West Hills, for example, up on Germantown Road, you might stay above freezing there as well. So it could be scattered cold spots the next couple of mornings. And if you get snow at these lower elevations, it would be a wet, light accumulation that would quickly go away later in the morning as daytime temperatures warm up. Here's what one of the weather models is showing. So the pass level, Mount Hood, over a foot of snow starting today going all the way through Saturday morning. It shows that potential 6 to 12 inches in the higher elevations, 1,000 feet and above in the Coast Range, with lower elevations in the Coast Range picking up snow as well. Then it does show the threat of some low spots up and down the I-5 corridor. Here's 11 o'clock this morning. That's the frontal band coming in with a solid rain band, gusty winds, southwest 15 to 30 miles per hour. Here we are at 4 o'clock, occasional shots of rain, heavy times coming through. There's that snow mix or mostly snow on the radar tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., according to Futurecast. So we're in the 40s all day today. We'll be mid-30s generally at night the next couple of nights, mid-40s the afternoon highs. That's it. That's near record territory for this time of the year. Sunday's much drier. Then we get to Wednesday, it's partly cloudy and 63. That's your forecast.